Hi everyone, it's me, Wayne, also known as ThePlantaholic. It's been a few weeks since I last posted a video on my YouTube channel, but it's the 15th of June 2020 and I've finally got all of my plants planted outside in the garden for the summer, and I thought I'd do a film to show you what the garden looks like now, and obviously I'll be doing further filming throughout the summer to show you just how much the garden grows. So in my last video I showed you my conservatory absolutely crammed full of plants for the winter time, and shortly before I started planting them outside. So obviously if you want to look at my other videos, I'll go into details about overwintering stuff. But as you can see now, my conservatory is pretty much empty. There's just a few things in here growing on for the summer, but obviously most of it is outside now for the summer, so here we go. So the spring in the UK of 2020 has been unbelievably warm and sunny. It's one of the sunniest springs on record, and during May we had our sunniest May ever. We had about 626 hours of sunshine. So the plants have obviously really responded to it, although now in June it's more seasonal. So we've got temperatures in the low to mid 20s or the low 70s Fahrenheit, but with high humidity and thunderstorms around. So now we've got here in front of us the Trachelospermum jasminoides, just coming to flower now. Fantastic exotic scent. It's an evergreen climber, and this is permanent, so it stays out all year round. It's in a fake rattan pot, and the leaves go bright red for the winter time and are evergreen, so they stay. I mean, you can actually see some of the reddish tones still left actually. They all go like that or even better for the winter. So much underused plant. This is a south facing wall, so it's obviously heats up during the day and gives off warmth during the evening. I've got a fantastic night phlox here, and the scent has been incredible. It's been in flower for about, probably getting on for 3 months, and the flowers open only at night and they give off a fantastic fragrance, and they're moth pollinated. It's from South Africa in the wild, and it's got gorgeous pink buds, as you can see, and then they open to these beautiful white star like flowers, and they're red backed too. Beautiful thing. So I've got a few climbers here. I've just bought a passion flower, a passiflora amethyst, so I'll put that out somewhere over the next week or so. And I've also got a crawl plant there, which is Aruja or Arauja sericifer, and it's called the crawl plant because when it flowers it has white flowers which clamp onto moths' tongues to enable good pollination. It traps them overnight and then releases them the following morning. I've actually seen that in action in Greece. It's native to South America though. Got a plumbago capensis there, which will have sky blue flowers, also called leadwort. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. So yesterday I did a few pots here, and I've got a bit of an orange, yellow and blue theme going on here. So I've got my blue pots, very 90s but quite trendy again now, and I've got some black-eyed Susans, as they're commonly called, or Thunbergia alata. These are unnamed cultivars, but this one is actually a bright orange. It's actually a deeper orange than what appears on the film. There we go. So that should reach the top of the cane by the end of summer, I'm hoping anyway. I've also got a bright yellow one, which is quite unusual. I've never seen one quite that colour before. Beautiful thing. And then I've got a nice a Butilon Megabotanicum, which has like a Chinese lantern effect. So that should fill out. It's quite hardy against a south facing wall in the UK. and got a Biden's there and a Euryopsis pectinatus silver spear. So that should fill that container by the end of the summer. One of my passions is bromeliads. I've got probably about 30 or so species and cultivars. So you can see this one's the fingernail bromeliad. You can see why, because it looks like fingernails been painted with nail polish. And they form a rosette, as you can see, of leaves, and they collect the rainwater, and any fallen insects or bird droppings or leaf litter will collect in there and actually feed them. Some of them go bright red during the summer months with the intense light, such as this one, pimiento. So it's a mixture of, as you can see, different colours and banding. So it's just one of many that do that. Most bromeliads are from South America, and they're epiphytes, which means they grow on trees for support, so they can grow 100 feet, 200 feet high in the canopy in full sun. Yeah, I've got loads, and I absolutely love them. They're evergreen, and I put them in my conservatory for the winter. I empty the rosettes of water, tip them upside down to drain the water, and then keep them bone dry in my conservatory from October till April. And it gets down to 3 degrees or 39 Fahrenheit, and they're completely happy. In the summertime, when I put them on my decking, they get absolutely baked in the summer, and the colour intensifies more and more throughout the summer. So obviously 2020 we had the COVID outbreak, unfortunately, and obviously we were locked down, and like a lot of people, I treated myself to some things for the garden during that time, and I've got a fantastic palm here from a specialist nursery, and this is Brahia armata, and they tolerate severe drought, in fact in the wild where they're from, I think in Mexico, but over here in the UK they do appreciate quite a bit of water, and a lot of sun, and a good baking. So here it's a bit of a sun trap, south facing, and I've got a few tillandsia or air plants just for decoration on the top. I'm going to plant it into this big pot soon, but I've just run out of compost, and the local garden centre has run out of compost too, because of course everyone's been enjoying doing the gardens up, especially this year. So you can see I've got a few bromeliads over here too. Got Eckmere Foster's favourite there, and as you can see it's coming into flower and getting berries on there. And the one next to it is Nerogelia Hannibal Lecter, which is a fantastic name for it. Quite sinister looking. It's got the teeth, it's got the black markings, the stripes, and you can see the rainwater collecting in the rosette. These plants here are Mirabilis jalapa, or Marvel of Peru, or 4 o'clock plant. So these are completely hardy, I found here. These have been outside for about 5 years in this pot, and they're herbaceous, they died down and they regrow again in May, and they have sweetly scented nocturnal flowers which are pollinated by moths in a range of colours, and absolutely beautiful. So I've got another black-eyed Susan, Thunbergia gregorii, which is a deep orange perennial, much bigger flowers than the Thunbergia alata, and that should reach the top of the fence by end of summer. I've got some Tillandsia usnioides, or Spanish moss as they call it, which is an air plant, completely rootless, and I've got it in a dead syringa or lilac tree for decoration. Yesterday I planted out my mother-in-law's tongue, or Sansevieria trifasciata futura superba, and as you can see they look great in clumps. I've acclimatised these over weeks, gradually from the house in quite deep shade through to full sunlight, just gradually increasing the light level so that they don't scorch in the sun. And behind that I've got a hardy tree solanum, or shrubby solanum, from Chile. They have lovely blue flowers, and you can see it's just in bud at the moment. So they call it the potato vine, or solanum crispum glasnevin. Got a strelitzia here, the bird of paradise, Regina. Beautiful thing, obviously the one with the orange and blue flowers. It did flower in April, and the flowers have gone over, but I've kept it on for now. Behind that I've got a yucca elephantipes. It was a house plant. I've had it for about 15 years. It's about 8 foot tall now, or 2.4 metres, and for the past 2 years it's been outside. I live in Birmingham, in the centre of England, in the UK, and okay, if we had a bad winter it could kill it, or it could certainly take the top off. But last winter we only had -5 here, so about 25 Fahrenheit would that be, I think, and so it survived that, and it's kept all of its top growth. I've got a water canna here. I'm not really sure what cultivar it is, but it will have orange and yellow flecked flowers. I've got a Lampranthus blousy pink. The flowers open up during the daytime and then close at night. Absolutely shocking pink, as you can see, and the butterflies were enjoying it yesterday. Got some agaves there, an agapanthus, and some more beautiful bromeliads, and you can see one of my favourite ones. You can see what I mean about them getting redder in full sun. Wow, look at that. That one is Neregelia fuego, one of my favourite ones, and they'll just get better and better. And you can see this rosette here is only just starting to colour up. You can see the gradual change from green to red. Absolutely stunning. Bromeliads do have flowers. They have normally bluish flowers, and with these Neregelias they'll be right down in the base in another month or two. I treated myself to another palm, which again I've got to pot up into this big pot. Butea odorata. Used to be called Butea capitata, but now they're saying that that's rare in cultivation, and most of the plants that we have in cultivation are actually Butea odorata. So you can see that's a view over of the garden, and if I just look back, the decking area back towards the house, and then the conservatory, and then onto my latest project, which is my tiki bar. So it's a Hawaiian inspired outdoor bar, as you can see, with a palm thatch roof, and I must thank Hannah, or known as the Tropical Plant Addict, for giving me massive inspiration for doing my own bar. Do check out her own channel on YouTube. It's absolutely amazing, and yeah, you get ideas on how to make it, and perhaps I'll do my own separate video how I made mine in time too. We've got a nice Harrier palm there, and I've also got a cheese plant, or Monstera deliciosa, which I rescued. It's very yellow and brown, but it's gradually now, after being potted up and well fed, it's starting to green up nicely now. So I've got a Cycas revoluta here, Sago palm, and I'm hopeful that this one's going to produce a rosette of leaves this year. It's looking quite good in the centre. In the UK we normally find that with lots of feed they produce a rosette of leaves every 2 years, around about the first week in July. So it's the 15th of June now, so I'm hopeful that in another 2 or 3 weeks that I'll get a new flush of leaves. Some more bromeliads here, And this one here is Ecmia blanchettiana, outstanding orange, and it's just starting to get more colour now in the summer light. Here in the UK, we're quite far north, so it means that around the longest day, obviously in this part of England, it doesn't get dark till about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m, and it gets light at about 4 a.m, something like that. So of course we've got plenty of daylight at this time of the year, and of course the more daylight, the more these bromeliads will colour up. Got Russellia equisetiformis. It did have one flush of flowers. I've just finished now, and with plenty of tomato food, high potash, it will encourage it to flower better still. And I've got what I believe is a dwarf Cavendish banana. It was unnamed when I bought it in the shop, but I think that's what it is, and it's got beautiful blackish markings. There's a little bit of scorch there, probably caused by a bit of water on the leaf in full sun. Absolutely love these tiki torches here, which give a really good flame-like effect. So do look out for those. They're really, really effective. I've actually got 5 of them around my decking area now, and they look really good at night. Another few bromeliads here, and I've got a bromeliad in flower. This is Bilbergia Fantasia. It nearly died unfortunately in the winter time, but I rescued it, and it's starting to get quite a lot of offsets now, and it has green leaves with the yellow splashes on there, as you can see, and these fantastic red bracts with the purple blue tubular flowers coming out of it. It's absolutely stunning. I've got arrowroot here. It's the first time I've grown it outside in the UK. I love to try and grow something new and different, and something that other people may not have tried. And arrowroot is obviously found in arrowroot biscuits. It's good for digestion. It used to be quite common years ago in the UK, and you can see that the new growth is actually starting to come from the base. Sort of hairy stems, Maranta style leaves in the Maranta family, and then eventually it should get lilac or purple flowers on there, I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Okay, so onto my south facing border now. I'm going to leave this Cycas revoluta out for this winter. It's my smaller one out of the two. It's a bit yellow, but that's normally caused by too much water. So obviously when I planted out, I watered it in very well, and that's probably what made it go yellow. But I'm hoping in time it will green up. I don't think this is going to produce a rosette, this one, because as you can see, it doesn't look as sort of promising as the other one. But if it doesn't this year and it survives the winter, it will next year. So I've got Canna striata there, lovely striped yellow foliage, and Musa morellii, sorry, Enseti morellii. There used to be Musa enseti, but now they're for many years they're now Enseti ventricosa morellii. Canna Australia, Dahlia Bishop of Llandaff, Lobelia laxifolia. Got some Aeonium there. A new Aeonium called Aeonium Phoenix underneath the yucca. The yucca stays out all year. It's been permanently planted here for 5 years now. It's stunning, so it looks great even in the winter. Aeonium Schwarzkopf, have to bring that inside. Got some of the salvias are starting to flower now. This is Royal Bumble. It's a deep pinkish red, and that is permanently planted. And you can see Salvia amistat there, just the first flower spike coming out. Beautiful thing. This is Canna Tropicana Black. So that's going to be stunning this year. It's doing really well. I've got an edible banana there, Rajapuri. I found that it does struggle in the UK climate sometimes, but you can see it's looking promising now. After a bit of a sulk, it's getting the idea of growing now in this subtropical to tropical conditions that we're having now. Next to that is Tithonia, the Mexican sunflower with bright orange flowers. It's an annual, and the annuals that I have to grow every year. They're absolutely fantastic things. See, we've got some crotons here, or Codeum pictum. They have had a bit of scorch. I did try and acclimatise them as houseplants, gradually more from the shade to the sun, but because the light was so intense in April and May, it did burn them a bit. And in fact, one actually completely defoliated. That can be caused by too much water, but I'm hopeful now that we've got the warmer conditions and getting used to this bright light. They'll do fine. They'll grow new leaves, as you can see they are already in the centre, and those won't scorch, and you get those lovely, fantastic yellow and red markings. I've got Agave attenuata there, and Canna tropicana. Stunning leaves, almost like stained glass effect when the sun shines through them. And the classic Musabasju, Japanese banana, which is hardy in most locations in the UK. So I'm hopeful this will survive the winter if I leave it out. Alternatively, I can dig it up and bring it in for the winter. It's important to keep the stem, obviously the trunk, for the height and also for future flowering and fruiting. So I've got a Chamaerops palm here. This is completely hardy in the UK. It stays out all year. With Melianthus major, which is equally as hardy, and that's in flower, which I'll show in a second. But this stunning Alstroemeria Indian summer, absolutely glorious. Wow, look at that. And that's completely hardy for us here. Got through the so-called beast of the east with a wind chill of -16 to -18 wind chill 2 years ago, no problem at all. New for me this year, I've been wanting one for years, and I finally got round to getting one this year, is Enseti ventricosum monteballardii, and when I planted this it was at the same size as the Murellii, but it's already caught up and overtaken it. It's much more taller growing than Murellii. The leaves are much more narrower, and rather than the reddish tinge to them, it's got a purplish and white bloom underneath the leaf. Absolutely stunning. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a real good doer for me, and it should reach the top, I'm hoping, of those railings by the end of the summer. So Melianthus major yet again, lovely glaucous foliage, completely hardy in the UK, originally from South Africa. Looks beautiful when the raindrops collect on the leaves, and the foliage actually smells of peanuts or monkey nuts when you rub the leaf. But at this time of the year, it has these fantastic flower spikes on them too, and you can see when they're pollinated. So there they are there, and then when they're pollinated, you get these weird seed pods on them. But what I'd like to do soon is cut this back so that I can get lots of new fresh basal growth at the bottom, so I'll get a nice bushy foliage plant rather than just like a bit of a sprawl that I've got at the moment. You can see at the back of that is the Yucca elephantiapes. I've got two cannas tucked at the back here. I've got Canna Cleopatra, which does have different coloured markings on the leaf. There's just one little stripe at the moment, but it will intensify as it gets more into the sunlight, as it grows up. It's a bit shaded by the Alstroemeria at the moment, and it will get green and red stripes, and then the flowers are red and yellow. They're like it's like a mix up, and it's a fantastic plant. Next to that is a new canna for me last year, which I got in Cornwall on holiday, called Singapore Girl, and it gets really big. It's got really big leaves. It's really vigorous. It gets between 6 to 8 feet tall, and it has bright orange flowers. I've got Persicaria red dragon here, completely hardy, fantastic foliage plant. It did grow to about a metre tall, or just over 3 foot. But then I cut it back. I gave it what's known as the Chelsea chop in the UK, when you cut it back at the end of May during the Chelsea Flower Show week, and by doing so it gives you all this fantastic young foliage. It's a real special plant for me because I actually received this from the late Will Giles, who was a fantastic exoticist who lived in Norfolk in England and had a 1 acre private garden and was really ahead of his time. During the 1980s, he grew a lot of exotics outside in the UK. He was one of the first people to do so. And so this is actually from his garden. So someone who I know very well actually worked there did some volunteer work, and actually brought it to me as a thank you, which is really great. And I was lucky enough to meet Will in July 2010. Fantastic guy. I've got Courtleia spicata lutea here, gorgeous red stems. It's a ginger relative, a bit like a hedychium, but I'm hoping it will have yellow and red flowers later on this summer. There's my acacia tree, Acacia dealbata, that stays outside permanently. It can have yellow flowers in January, February time. I've had to prune it back a bit because it went a bit mad, but it's looking quite good now. And a Eucalyptus gunnii, which again is completely hard in the UK. It's important for us to cut them back here because if you don't, they get huge. They can get up to 100 feet tall in the UK. So you can actually coppice them to the ground so that you get this lovely glaucous silver purpley tinged foliage, which is fantastic. So towards the bottom of the tropical or exotic part of my garden, I've got Best Cornelia yuccioides. Normally it has huge flower spikes, 2-3 meters tall, so 6 to 9, 10 feet tall. This year it looks like it's not going to flower this year. It's going to have a year off, although it's going to have a look here. Is that going to? No, it's not a flower spike, but it's having a year off. But it's fantastic foliage, sort of glaucous-y looking. And I've got some heleniums there, which are just budding up in the daisy family, the bright orange and yellow. The bees absolutely love them, and they give a real good tropical splash of colour, even though they're completely hardy. In the wild are from North America. Got salvia, involucrata there, which I find is completely hardy for me. Dies down to the ground and comes back up. And then over here I'm used to sycamensis, which struggled a little bit, I must say, but I've cut the top off and you can see it's actually pushing out leaves now in this lovely weather we've been having, so don't need to worry about that. I think it's going to be fine. Cordyline pink passion, wow, look at that. Evergreen. A bad winter would kill it, but it would survive mild winters in the UK. Absolutely stunning. It's just like a firework, isn't it? And I've got some hardy phlox there, backed by Trachycarpus wagnerianus, which is a type of Fortunii, they're saying now, but much more wind resistant, much reduced leaves, upright leaves, fan palm or windmill palm. Stunning, and you can imagine it looks gorgeous in the frost in the winter as well. In fact, now it's giving almost like a frosted effect now, with those white edges to the leaf. So this plant here is a Schefflera, Arboricola variegata. It's obviously a common house plant, but I find it does really, really well outside in the UK. Fantastic tropical foliage. Again, you have to be careful how you acclimatise it to the bright sunlight, but it puts on so much growth and looks stunning. And underneath that, in a bit of shade, I've got one of my favourite plants ever, which is a cordyline fruticosa, or the Thai plant, and this one's a cultivar called Tango, and the foliage is absolutely stunning, and I think it clashes beautifully with the Schefflera. Another bromeliad. So this one's Nidularium innocenti var innocenti, also known as the Amazonian bird nest. And last year it did flower, and it looks like a bird's nest. You can see where the old flowers are in the centre, and they're bright white and they look like eggs all in a ring, and so it looks like, it gives you the impression of a bird's nest. I've got it looks very bright yellow at the moment, but it should actually be green, although I do like this colour. It's Echmea Blue Rain, and it was I received it as a stressed out plant. It had too much sunlight, but I actually quite like that colour. Eventually it will go to green, and it gives lovely big blue inflorescences or flowers later on in the summer. So another annual that I'll never be without is our zinnias, and this one's Purple Prince. You can look at one of my earlier videos to show to see how I grew that from seed. I've pinched them out after planting so that they'll branch, and that obviously makes a stockier plant and gives you more flowers later on. So I've got an elephant's ear here, I should say. This is I've gone Calocasia Esculenta fontanacei, and it's got lovely black stems. And elephant's ears are a bit like bananas. You can't overfeed them. They love food. You can't overwater them. They love water, and they love sun and heat. Giving them, they absolutely go bonkers. And this one is pretty hard in the UK. More and more people are finding that, you know, they're surviving the winter. I've had them actually freezing pots and survived that. So a bit like the pink china that more and more people are growing now. I've got various hedychiums. This one's called ginger lilies. So this is one called Stephen, which has white and